Okay, on this Wess solo edition of Hak5, we've got a bunch of really good things for you. What's up?
Speedy thing goes in, speedy thing comes out.
Right on.
Yeah.
So,
Simon Jakesch tells us about Zenoss.
Will Coppola, he does some EVDO card hacking.
Chris Gerling's here to talk to us about the Nokia N770. It's the ultimate hacking companion, not like the Cube.
I'm going to show you some really cool near-infrared camera stuff.
And of course, I will tell you about some one-click remote assistant stuff that's going to save your holidays.
Nice. Okay, so that and a whole lot more on this episode of Hak5.
In the past, power plants produced energy at any cost. Now we're not only producing energy, but we're producing less pollutants. It's better for the community, and it's going to be better for generations to come.
Joining us today is Simon Jakesch from Zenoss to show us some network management systems. Simon, thanks so much for coming down.
Hey, how you doing?
Gotta ask, what's a network management system?
Yeah, basically it's, it allows you to see your network and all the devices connected to the network in like a single point, web interface essentially. So you can, check on the toner and check on the hard drive space and do all these kinds of things in like,
all
one
the little
central
IT
place.
tasks that we run around the network fixing.
Yeah. Instead of running around and going to an individual machine, you just have it there in one single view.
Okay, so it's a management or monitoring package that lets you be a little bit more proactive about your network.
Exactly, yes.
Okay. So what are the kind of like underlying technologies that make this work?
Well, we utilize a lot of open source because obviously we're an open source project. So we use Python and Zope and so on and so forth. But to retrieve the data from the individual devices, we use SNMP, which stands for Simple Network Management Protocol. Okay,
for somebody that's not very familiar with SNMP, can you maybe just break that down? What exactly does SNMP do for us?
Sure. So, basically the idea is that you have an SNMP agent on a device and, Windows comes with one. If it's not installed, it comes on the Windows XP CD as an extra. Or, all the Unix system like Linux and so on and so forth, you can install them on there as well. And so this agent provides information to you. So you can ask it, like, how is your CPU utilization, or how is the CPU utilization of this device, and it will answer you back.
Right.
So.
All right, so what we're looking at is the Zenoss software running on like Fedora or CentOS or any of your favorite Linux distribution here and a VM player. But to actually talk to it, we do all that through the web.
Yeah, that's right. So, you can see this here, and this is, not very exciting, as you can see lots of numbers and so on and so forth. But basically, the system has just booted up. But now you can interact through it with the browser. So when you first enter, there's a login screen, and the login is admin Zenoss. And then you get presented with this dashboard. As you can see, you need to enter, you need to get a Google Maps API key. There's already a local host, which is basically the VM virtual machine. It's already pre-set up for you, and it does this on the first boot up. And then you can really go already into the details. So, it will already have detected some of your networks, and then you can essentially go and auto-discover the devices on your network.
Okay, so what happens when you auto-discover devices on the network?
Basically, what Zenoss will do is it just will ICMP ping sweep your entire subnet of the of your network, and we'll see which device responds back, and we'll see which device is actually responding to SNMP requests as well.
So it sounds a little bit like Nmap, kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's essentially a little like Nmap in the way that it goes through your network. And then once you run the discovery on your network, you get actually, this output, which, will give you information about, how many devices has Zenoss discovered, how many active IPs are on the network, which type of IPs are there, and then it will also inform you about the devices, whether or not they're actually running SNMP or not. So, you can use this kind of like a to-do list. I need to still install these SNMP agents on these machines.
Okay,
but
so it's found 11 in our environment here at the Hack House.
Exactly.
Most of them don't have SNMP running. Most of them are Windows boxes. It's a real simple thing to go ahead and send out with group policies or just turn on each machine.
Absolutely,
it's just a checkbox in the config.
It comes on the Windows XP CD, and it doesn't take more than 2-3 minutes. You can even go to our website. We have how-tos on how to do this. But we've actually set up SNMP on one of the machines, which is the set-top box, right? Or set box. And basically, once that device is then recognized, Zenoss then adds it to its inventory of devices. So you can see this in here, and you can see, okay, set box, this is the host name, and it's actually in the discovered category. So what we need to do in order to further categorize or help Zenoss understand what type of device that is, we basically need to take the device and we need to move it into device class.
Okay.
And once that process is done, Zenoss will go and model a device. So it will go and discover more information about.
So if we
device.
said this is a PC running Windows, it would find information about, say, like the software that it's running or its disk space or CPU or stuff. Whereas if we told it that it was in a printer class, it would go and find information like a toner and
exactly,
paper.
Exactly. And the way to do this, essentially, the way this is done is by either automatically Zenoss will go and model the devices, every 12 hours, every 6 hours or what. Or you can actually go and force the modeling of a device through the GUI interface as well.
So it's kind of like tagging those specific devices so that we can build kind of a map.
Exactly. And then once the device is modeled, you actually get all kinds of interesting information, more or less interesting information. So you get information about, general OS information, for example, the interfaces that are running on this particular machine. So we can actually see that there is a VMware virtual Ethernet adapters and NVIDIA networking adapter. There's information about what type of routes are set up on this device. There's information about what type of IP services are running on a device, so like NTP or NetBIOS or whatnot, and you can then switch on monitoring from there. You also get information about, as you mentioned before, software, so you get information,
oh great, so here's all the
ATI display driver installed and all kinds of other information, and it will actually go and not only do this for this machine, but when you click on, let's say, this security update, you had another machine that had the same security update, you would get a list of machines that have the same type of software installed on them.
Sounds good. So it's already discovered our network. So this is Zenoss being used on our tiny little network here at the Hack House. Now, when we come back, we're going to take a look at Zenoss being used in a much larger environment and maybe get into some of the management functions of that.
Yeah.
So stick around. We'll be back in just a minute.
Why just get a domain name when you can get it all? Register your domain name with GoDaddy.com, the #1 domain registrar worldwide, and get free hosting with a website builder, a free blog, a complete email, and much, much more. Plus, as a fan of Hak5, enter code HAK3, that's hack and the number 3, and get your .com name for just $6.95 a year. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com. Go GoDaddy!
Okay, so it's time for trivia. Last trivia question asked was in 1983. In the 1983 film War Games, lead character David Lightman, played by Matthew Broderick, is introduced while playing Galaga in what Seattle arcade? And there was bonus points for catching the high score. The answer is 20 Grand Palace was the arcade, and the high score was 58,260, which was correctly answered by Shock Dude. Now, the funny thing about that whole high score thing was Matthew Broderick was actually setting the high score as that went on. So.
And just as a kind of interesting trivia note to that was that during the film's production, they actually sent him a Galaga machine to practice on in his home, and he got really good at it.
Huh. So he really was setting the high score.
He owns noobs.
Nice. In Galaga.
Well, little tiny aliens.
Right. Anyway, so this month's trivia question.
Time division multiplexing and frequency division multiplexing are examples of fixed link sharing technologies. What variable multiplexing alternative is stated to be used in the next revision of EVDO?
Oof.
Yeah, there you go.
That sounds complicated and fun.
Well, if you find it, I'm sure you're into a lot of fun and geeky reading. If you find fun reading multiplexing. I think it's interesting.
You would.
Pulse amplitude modulation is kind of fun too.
Anyway, so as always, send your answers to trivia@hak5.org. And now, a word from our sponsors.
The generation coming up can't go learn like I learned. It just can't do it. It's outdated. It's done. Forget it.
Okay, so I'm here doing a mod segment that I didn't do.
Right on.
So, long story short, real quick, this is my buddy Will.
How you doing?
Hey, nice to have you on, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And so, you did your own sweet little mod here with an EVDO modem.
That's correct.
Right? Okay, so now, real quick, for anybody that doesn't know what EVDO is, EVDO is what? Evolution data optimized or something like that?
Or data only, whatever you want.
Yeah, which is really just a big marketing blah blah.
For 3G.
Yeah, 3G cellular data transfer, cellular internet connections.
Internet connection through CDMA technology.
Right. Okay, if you don't know what CDMA is, now go
Carrier
Google.
detection, multiple access.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, I'm on the ball.
So anyway, what now? The whole story behind this thing is the fact that you live out in the sticks.
Yes, BFE for the people that know where it is. That's 23061.
10 miles outside of BFE. Anyway, and so you don't have any kind of broadband availability. No DSL, no cable, no nothing.
Nothing. I can get dial-up.
Yeah, because
who
we know
wants
how
that?
Yeah. So then you decided to go ahead and get this EVDO modem, or this.
Oh, you can call it a modem.
Yeah, EVDO modem, and then discovered that you have no cellular service out there,
Not at all.
or very, very minimal.
You can barely just get 1 bar.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to put it in terms of bars. So what you decided to do was now make your own antenna for the EVDO modem
That's correct.
and boost your reception.
I wouldn't say boost it, but optimize my incoming signal, yes.
Optimize your incoming signal. Going with the whole optimization theme
Yeah,
we've got going on here.
optimization sells. It's much
Okay.
like sex.
So to break it down real quick, this is an EVDO modem, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And this is the inside of it. This is where all the fun stuff happens. But this is what we're worried about right here. Is this little gold connector, and that is the antenna connection, right?
External antenna connection, yes, sir.
Okay. And don't call me sir.
Try not to.
So, and then that is where this would normally connect to.
That is correct. It connects right into this gold or silverish colored part right here on the side. Mm-hmm. That makes the connection for the built-in factory antenna.
Which this is.
Correct.
This is the original antenna. Now, and this would be these 3 pieces here, and we'll put them all together in just a second. But these make up your antenna, right?
That is correct. It's a single pole element antenna.
Single pole element antenna. Now, exactly what does that mean? What makes it a single pole element antenna?
Basically, this one piece here, which is 3.5 inches long, is cut specifically to the 800 megahertz frequency that Verizon uses to transfer data.
Okay, so the length dictates its frequency reception.
That's correct.
Its frequency sensitivity.
You don't have to actually bend it like you would see for 802.11, where you take the screw and then wrap the copper wire around it or anything of the sort. This is just a single pole cut 3.5 inches.
Okay, and that's the actual important part, right?
That is correct.
So what do these do?
It serves as 2 purposes. One purpose is as a ground plane. It connects to the outside of the connector, which gives it the negative signal, and is structural support for the internal antenna, the actual element itself.
It'll actually hold itself up.
Right.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and put these all together for us. Show us the dealie.
See that piece?
There you go. Slide that in there like that. Now, I'd imagine if the copper wire is both support and touching the ground, that the copper and your actual element cannot touch.
That's correct. I have rubber gaskets in here to stop them from shorting out, so to say.
Mm-hmm. And that shorting out would actually just completely kill your signal.
Right. You would have nothing.
Gotcha.
You would be back in the Stone Age.
That little thingy plugs into the connector there, and then
Alrighty,
copper
good.
sits on there. And now we're good. All right.
Verizon gives you a wonderful cable, so you can have it external, not actually plugged into the USB.
Yeah, because then you run that risk of it snapping off.
Or messing up your USB connection. So if you're mobile all the time, it's a good idea to keep it on the lanyard here.
Right, and it's just got 2, one for power, one for data.
Yep.
You've even got your spiffy Velcro on the back.
Yeah, I gotta have that. I wanted to actually mod that into my laptop case here. But
that would be cool. Okay.
now it's going to detect it because we've just plugged it in.
Mm-hmm. And this is Windows.
Yes, I do have the scripts for Linux, so if you do have an EVDO card, which is the USB 720, you can get it working in Linux.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you normally use this in Linux, but the reason we decided to use it in Windows this time is because Windows offers the ability to, we can see how much signal strength we have, and you have some monitoring tools here that will show us exactly how much throughput we're actually getting.
Correct. Now, if you notice, I connected into the reversion A.
Which is the new hotness for EVDO.
Yes, it is. Very, very much sweet. So I have 2 bars, and I'm at 93 decibels.
Okay, which is respectable.
And I'm not using the factory antenna.
Now this is yours.
In fact, without antenna right now, there would be no signal and have no connection.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I do a connection, I get a good
we'll
IP address. I get a nice little speed test out of it.
Yeah, we'll do a speed test and see how you're actually doing. And we're going to come up to 540s.
Which is not bad for being inside of a house and around a lot of electronic equipment. If I was around.
Yeah, and the Hak5 studios tend to be a dead zone for cellular signal anyway. So there was you peaked out at 602 kilobits down,
which is not bad.
And you're coming up on about 165 kilobits up. Not bad. You're not going to be doing a whole lot of uploading.
Not at all. Actually, you sacrifice your uploads because the Verizon uses 2 frequencies. It uses 800 megahertz to receive, and it uses 1900 megahertz to send.
Okay.
Had I made the manufactured antenna, the dual band, and all that stuff, I would have a great upload speed. But because I was only strictly concerned about my download speeds, I did it at 800 megahertz, which is 3.5 inches for the single element.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
602 kilobits per second, 165 kilobits per second. It's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting in the Hak5 house earlier, and the highest I peaked so far was 1,272 kilobits per second download and 257 upload.
And that was with your antenna?
Correct. And I was just sitting less than 5 feet away from the spot I'm at now.
Gotcha. Now, just real quick, can we put the factory antenna on, or would that
you can totally use that while using the external antenna. It cancels it out. The only reason I took it out was just for the fact of proving that it's not the internal antenna that's doing any work here. It's strictly my own antenna.
Right. Now, I mean, but how hard would it be for us to put this in right now and do a real quick speed test just to see if...
Just that one by itself? Matter of seconds.
Okay, so let's go ahead and try that real quick.
Now, I'm not showing any reversion A network. I'm not showing anything but national access currently with the single element, or the single element removed with the factory antenna.
Yeah, this is the factory antenna. Let's just see if we're even going to get any cellular service right now.
I say yes.
Connected.
We are connected.
National
and
access, which
I'm not
you can already see now.
bar.
You can already see now that there's almost no signal. We had 2 bars with your antenna.
Right, and I'm showing 113, 111 decibels, 112.
Right, which is not good.
Not at all. And I will do a speed test just to prove that, yes, it does work.
Let's see how we do. Preparing download test.
And we're probably going to sit here and waiting because it's probably like a 26.6 right now.
You really think so? We're down to like a 26.6 connection?
Almost guaranteed.
Wow. Yeah, we're already seeing. Yeah, this is already like a proof.
Yeah, we got a 0.
So
6, 12, 20, 28, 30,
wow.
36, 40, 50. Now it will burst up to like 120 the most, if we're lucky.
Yeah, look, that's a noticeable difference. Like very noticeable by 5-fold, really.
Easily. You're not even considered broadband if you're pulling 127 kilobits.
No. Okay, and then it's going to choke on the upload.
Yeah, it's totally going to choke. It's going to pull like 2 or 3.
Okay, so we've proven that the antenna is actually doing something. So the science behind it, obviously, is that it has to be 3.5 inches long for the 800 megahertz.
That is correct.
And then this is just kind of acting as a ground and a support, the copper wire here.
Right, and if you're actually inside a vehicle, it kind of uses the vehicle as an antenna also.
Oh, it will?
Theoretically, it's supposed to.
But not so much.
Actually, right. Now, if I had a magnetic base and stuck it on top of the car with a single pole element, yes, I could use the surface of the car as a ground plane.
Gotcha.
And that would be, performance-wise, would be better. But having its own ground plane built in, 100%.
Right. Now, is there anywhere people can go to find out more about you, or are you just kind of like lying low out there?
You can go to djsurreal.com. I do a lot of stuff on there, music-wise. You can get in contact with me there. Hak5 IRC, as always.
Okay. So, thanks a lot. Otherwise, all the information will be on the show notes and links to relevant articles.
Yep, and if you're looking for the serial or the scripts to make it work in Linux, I got them. I'll post them up.
We'll put those in the show notes also.
Excellent.
Thanks a lot, Will. Really appreciate it.
Joining us today is our special guest, Chris Gerling from chrisgerling.com. You're going to show us the Nokia N770?
Yes.
So what is the Nokia N770?
It's a internet tablet. It's based on Debian Linux, so it ships with the Linux operating system. You can get it for about $150 right now.
That's
so
really
it's
cheap for something like this. Inexpensive, even.
Inexpensive.
And from what I understand, this is like the ultimate hacker toolkit, along with some USB goodies, of course.
It is very useful. You have a lot of little hacker tools on here because it's Linux, so anything that can be compiled for an ARM.
So you say ARM. We're talking about like a RISC processor.
Yes.
And that's the beautiful thing about Linux, I guess, is
it will run on anything.
So it actually comes with a Debian Linux, but and it's $150. And what kind of hardware specs we're looking at?
It's a 250 megahertz ARM processor. It's got 64 megabytes of DDR RAM, and it comes with 128 megs of internal flash memory to start with.
You can expand that?
You can expand that. There's an MMC mobile media card or something like that. It's not the old MMC.
Okay,
not the clunky cards. It's a little bitty card.
So it comes with Linux, and out of the box you can do some pretty fun stuff with it. But you were saying that you don't actually get root with it.
No,
to begin
you
with.
don't get root with it.
That's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
So how'd you get root with it?
There's actually a guide, and we'll have the whole thing in the show notes. Here's what it's right here. There's an internet tablet talk. There's a humongous forum posting, and in fact, it's replicated elsewhere too. There's probably a wiki somewhere that has the same stuff in it. It tells you how to install all these programs in Flash via your PC, and you basically kind of change the form around a little bit and put I think it's called gain root.
Gain root?
Gain root and become root are the two things that you use to...
I want to become root for every system.
Yeah, that would be nice. Gain root. Oh, I'm in. And from there, what I did, there's a couple ways to do it. You can just give yourself root, or you can go a little further and make it boot from the media cart on the side. Great. And it makes it faster, snappier.
And there are other distributions for this as well?
No. Well, there's only two that'll work with this. There's the 2006 version of the Internet Tablet OS and the 2007 version, which is very unstable. They call it in the wikis and stuff the Hacker Edition because it's very. I mean, it's great for people like us to mess around with. But if you're going to give this to your uncle to just check his whatever with.
Well, we don't want to just check our email. We want to do some more fun stuff.
We want to do fun things with it.
Once we've got root on this, once we've got it all hacked up, what kind of software are we looking at?
I have Aircrack NG on it, Kismet.
Nice.
We cannot show you Kismet because it'll kill our. In fact, we have.
This is actually pretty cool. The reason that you can even see the screen that we have here is because it has a VNC server built in. And using our laptop here, we can actually show you exactly what it looks like on the screen without having to point a camera at the device itself.
Yeah, that would be not too fun. So, and there you go. It's all touch screen. You can play with it. You can load web pages, bring up anything you want.
Mobile Mozilla?
Right. Yeah. This right here. This is it's called Minimo, and it's just a little mini version of Firefox. We're on the Hak5 site here. And you can click links and stuff like that, and it'll play media. But I don't know about these.
Right, as for media capabilities, what'll it do?
It does. I don't remember all the formats offhand, but I know it'll do WMV, I think, and AVIs. But
does it run like VLC or?
I think you can install VLC on it.
Okay.
I don't have it on here right now, but there's a whole repository. It's just a repository, and you can just select any application you want. So.
Okay. And we also have some like web server stuff that we could do with it if you really wanted.
If you really wanted to run WordPress or a web server off it, I think they have XMAPP or whatever that's called.
Where it comes with Apache, and PHP, and MySQL.
You can go ahead and do it, but it's not going to be very say, hey, cool, I did it, but it's not really useful.
It might make it onto Slashdot like the
might make it on a Slashdot, and then this thing will just explode and melt and burn your house down. So
okay, well. I guess before we get going, I think it's amazing that you can, carry around things like, Kismet and Aircrack and not have to, boot up your laptop. And we've seen things like that on the show before. For example, the Nintendo DS that we've hacked so that you can use like DS Blue to actually, find other access points around. And one of the coolest things that it was able to do, and so was the iPod that Paul cracked, was run Doom.
Yes.
So
here it is, and here's all the games that I did install. So chess, all these other things, Tux Puck.
Nice.
So here's Doom, and it loads pretty quick. It probably will take a little bit longer on the laptop display because it's
a pretty cool theme too, the Matrix.
It's combined. Like I had a Matrix theme and the LCARS theme, which I can change to.
So you can actually run this with LCARS?
You can.
Okay, so if you're a Star Trek geek, like maybe some of us,
this will look like you're something.
Just like Captain, I know it's the 24th century, but here's the duty roster. I mean, I'd email it to you, but
yes.
It's more fun to hand it to you.
Exactly. Okay. Doom. There we go. So here we are, and you can actually control it via the VNC client if you want to. Which it's not going to look that great because...
Yeah, if you've ever tried to play a video game over VNC,
it's not good.
Probably what you would expect.
Yeah, it's
but
normal.
It's really beautiful, I got to say.
It's very normal on here. You can use the... and it's probably going to run a little bit slow on here because I've got so many things running. But
so it is kind of like the Nintendo DS where you have the stylus in one hand and
you
then
can
your
move around and shoot, with your button. So
good stuff.
And I can move forward. I think we can find a little bad guy up here somewhere. It's probably not going to look that great. So we won't subject you guys to this.
Look, I'm getting motion sick.
Yeah. So let me exit out of this.
Well, Chris, sounds like a very fun device and very inexpensive. I mean, if you're looking for something fun to hack over the holidays and have fun with
it's very quick
and aircrack just in your pocket. So we'll have links in the show notes for the places where you can find all of the tutorials,
all the information
to get your route on the N770. Chris, thanks so much for coming down. Where can
bet.
people find more of your work?
More of my work?
Yeah.
Well, my website's kind of in hiatus, but chrisgerling.com does work. I'm going to have another one up pretty shortly, though, that actually has all the stuff I do on it, because I've been really lax about that stuff lately. So
sounds good. So chrisgerling.com for him, and of course you can find the rest of the stuff that we've talked about here on the show notes at hak5.org.
Okay, so I'm back in front of the camera again, and I've got a pretty sweet mod for you. Now, it's all about kind of like voyeurism and playing with light and physics. I don't encourage voyeurism, but it can be used for that. Now, what I've got here is just a simple little digital video camera from Radio Shack that right here. It was less than $100. It's USB. It's nothing fancy, but it's a purely digital video camera, and you can already see here that I've ripped it apart. And this is why. Cameras can see infrared light. You probably have seen it before when you take a remote control or something that emits infrared light and shoot it back at a video camera. You see a little white pulse. Now, there's also another kind of light called near-infrared light that the human eye can still perceive. Now, it gets washed out by the rest of white light, but we can still perceive it, and the properties of this near-infrared light are really cool and really unique. Now, what you have to understand about light is nothing more than an energy wave. And what we perceive as white light is all different colors of light blended together, moving together, and in like all their different waveforms. And this is why we see rainbows. Rainbows are nothing more than the light being bent out into its individual colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, in order of intensity. Now, you've heard of UV light, which is our black lights, which is over here past violet, outside of our perception, but it's very high energy light. And then you get down to infrared light, which people use a lot for heat, like a lot of your heat cameras are infrared, and we can't see that either. And the difference between all these different waves of light and what makes them more or less powerful is wavelength, how far it is from peak of wave to peak of wave. Ultraviolet and violet light, high intensity light, have a very short wavelength. They're very, very powerful, and they actually get bent more when they're refracted. Whereas on the low end, red and infrared and near infrared have very long wavelengths, so they don't get bent as much, and they tend to pass through things a lot better. That's why light coming through glass creates heat. The waves come in, and the energy gets transferred from light to heat. Now, this is where near-infrared helps us out a lot, is everything that filters out visible light will not filter out infrared and near-infrared light. And the first thing you need to do is get a camera like this one right here. I just ripped this apart real quick, and this is just a regular USB webcam. And when I take the front of it off here, you look inside here, that's the actual image sensor on the inside there. That little shiny piece right there, for anybody that's never seen one before. See, there you go. That's the actual image sensor. But over here, on what we would think is the lens side, you see that little red dot? That red dot is an IR filter. It's an infrared filter so that the lens doesn't get overpowered by it. So, what we'd like to do is rip that out there, and we replace it with a piece of developed negative. It has to be a dark piece of developed negative. I'm sorry I don't have a piece with me. But you would like take a picture of something black, and then go have the negative developed, and cut that out. You would rip the infrared filter out, and replace it with that piece of film, which I've already done with this camera right here. And that lens, that new filter that we've put in there, is now going to block out every kind of visible light. And this is what happens when near infrared is allowed to pass through. Let my camera boot up here real fast. And now this, you probably know what it is, but it's a tasty carbonated beverage that the recipe has been kept secret for over a century. And it's good for cleaning battery terminals. And you all know the color. It's this dark, dark black color. You cannot see through this. If we get a close-up over here, and you just can't see my fingers through here, right? Now, if we look at my little camera over here, as soon as it comes back, where'd it go? No, I don't want to power off, you piece. Technical difficulties, I'm sorry. I have no display. Where's my display? There it is. Thank you. Now, look. If you see here, yoo-hoo, you can see my fingers. It's clear. You have clear carbonated beverage, which you wouldn't normally see. Now, also, we'll take a shot of the green room over here, and you see, why does my video keep flaking out? There it goes. Okay, so if you look over here, there's Darren and there's Will getting ready to do their segments. And picture in picture, look, they have dark shirts on. But that near-infrared light is being reflected back and is perceived as white. Check that out. And one more thing, if I can shoot past Chris here. He'd dip out of the way, and I'll come over here. If you look way back here, hooray for digital zoom. See that? Those are infrared lights coming from a Wii bar. Now, what's good about this is you can definitely use it in certain types of reconnaissance. Say you were in the situation that you needed to see, you thought somebody was in camouflage and you needed to see him. Fabrics reflect infrared and near-infrared light differently than vegetation does, so they would stick out like a sore thumb. Also, lighter weight fabrics, especially dark ones like dark black shirts that are real thin, you can actually see through them because this long wavelength doesn't get filtered out very easily, and so it'll pass straight through. So something you see as opaque or not transparent will become translucent through an IR filter like this. It's really quick. It's really easy. It completely depends. It's completely dependent upon your camera. What made this really popular was the Sony Night Shot. The Sony Night Shot had a night mode in it that you could force on during the daylight, and you got this exact same effect. But this way you can do with any kind of camera by simply just getting down to the image sensor and the infrared filter, taking it out and replacing it with this piece of developed negative. So that's all there really is to it. Questions, comments, email me. I'll make sure I write show notes about it, and it'll be really well documented for you, and I'll also have links for any kind of pertinent information. Thanks a lot.
Hey, once again, Darren here for a fun little hack, and I've got to say, sorry, I don't have anything neat that can see through stuff, but we're going to be doing something spiffy anyway. Imagine this scene. You're home for the holidays, the wreath looks great, smells good in the kitchen, and, you know, aunt, uncle, the other relatives and whatnot say, hey, I'm having this interesting problem with my computer. Every time I, right? And then you get sucked into it, and then 4 hours later, you're digging through the Windows registry because somebody lost their cat wallpaper. Yeah, we've all been there, and it sucks. So let's enjoy the holidays this year, and there's really only one thing you need to do, and that is set up a one-click VNC remote assistance for your family. I don't know if you've ever tried to use the remote assistance that's built into Windows XP. It looks like this, and it is just about the most horrible remote assistance thing ever built on the planet. I mean, it's based on terminal services, which is tried and true. It's proven, it's great, but the implementation in Windows XP is absolutely horrible. Okay, because you have to go through this convoluted setup where you invite someone, and then you have to either email them a setup file, or you have to get on Messenger, and there's all these crazy, or you just save the files to your desktop and find some way to get to them. I mean, walking someone through that is a pain. So what I've kind of created is I found this really spiffy one-click VNC utility that'll allow you to send out just a real quick installer package to whoever it may be. They double-click on it, they open it from your web server, and they're good to go on your server. So let's just go ahead and dive right into it and see what's involved in setting up. All right. First thing we're going to need, and this is the first thing in a lot of my projects here, is a Dyn DNS setup. So if you don't have one of these already, you might want to hit up the show notes for more information on setting up this. But basically, Dyn DNS is a solution that will allow you to get a DNS name pointed to your IP address at home. Okay, so if you have like a dynamic IP address like we do here with our cable modem, it'll always be going to the right place. So that's first. Next thing we need to do is go into our firewall, and we're going to have to port forward TCP port 5500. That's to allow VNC Listen Client to accept the VNC one-click server we're going to set up. And easily and smooth, we'll just set up your IP address here, 5500 TCP. It'll show up here in the list. All fun and dandy. Once that's done, we're going to need a copy of BozTech's one-click VNC solution. Now, this is something that I found a couple of years ago when I was looking for a better solution than this Windows help and support remote assistance crap. And I stumbled across this in a forum post, and it's really like one of those fun little gems of the internet that is, once again, gone. You know, just like when we talked about on, I think, the first episode of Hak5, the help, or what was it, light.exe, that allowed you to turn on and off your lights, and then as soon as the episode broadcasts, it's nowhere to be found. This is one of those as well. What happens is this awesome code monkey like ourselves, probably a network administrator, has come up with this spiffy little implementation of the tight VNC, the Ultra VNC one-click VNC server, and he posted it on his website, vncscan.com, and now when you go there, oh, look at this, pricing, you know, $1,000 for a site license. Well, you know what, thankfully I kept a copy, and it's available at hak5.org in the show notes. So we're going to go through the setup because it makes everything super happy. Basically, the one-click VNC setup is just two executables. We've got a remote assistance executable here. We've got the settings INI file. We open up the settings INI file. It's just one line. It's your IP address. In this case, it's hak5.noip.org or yourhomeserver.dyndns.org or whatever your IP address to your home network may be, DNS preferably. So all we have to do is send those two files to the parental units. They double-click, and we're on their computer as long as we have the port forward going and as long as we have a VNC listen server. So I go ahead and use the tight VNC implementation. I find it pretty good. It's just VNC viewer in listen mode. Okay, and you just open that. It sits here in the task tray. And as soon as somebody connects, it just pops up on your screen, and you can move the mouse and get all their happy lolcats back on their desktop. So anyway, one of the interesting problems that we have once we have this solution, though, is now I need to get you both files, and you need to, it doesn't sound like a hard problem for us, right? I'm just going to zip these both up. I'm going to send you a zip or a RAR or an ACE or whatever we use these days, and you're just going to extract them and double-click on the remote assistance. And that's where we lose them. Because I don't know why it's so difficult to unzip stuff, but we're talking about L users here. So let's go ahead and create a installation package. Now, there's a couple of different ways to do this, and the way that I find most convenient is to use this program called Packet Builder. Okay, Packet Builder is just one of many Windows installation package creators. It just, it doesn't create, I don't know exactly if it creates MSI files like we may be used to with group policies and stuff, but basically it'll create one executable that will extract your stuff, that will install a program files icon, create a desktop icon if we want. It'll run the program after setup, and it's really easy to use. So we just start a Packet Builder, and I'm in the project file right now, and we can go into About Your Project, and I call it Remote Assistance here, and we click on Manage Files to Compress. We just drag over our files into here, as I've already done. So those are the files that are going to be in the package. And then we can set up the destination folder. I just did an absolute link. You might want to use some environment variables here, but I just set it to install to c/one-click VNC. We can set up the interface. We can get all spiffy on the welcome screen here, and we can type some cool stuff like, "Hey, it's Darren, your loving son, sibling, cousin, whatever, here to help you with the computer." And we can do all sorts of fun stuff in here, but basically just get the package files in there, go to functionality, and here we can add registry entries and all sorts of fun stuff if you know what I'm talking about. But what we really want to focus on is the manage custom actions. Okay, so once we've told it, here's the files that I want to be in my package, we just need to say manage these custom actions. After file extraction is what we want to do. We're going to add a sequence. As you see, we have a lot of different things to choose from. We can ask users things. We can create shortcuts. We can delete folders. We can delete. We can create an uninstaller, do registry fun stuff. We want to execute a program file. Okay, we've already set that up here. So I'll take a look. It's going to open up in a normal window, and it's just going to run c/one-click VNC /remote assistance exe. So as soon as the installation package is done, it'll go ahead and open up that remote assistance. So you don't have to say, okay, just download this file and run it, and then go to program files, and then you lose them again. So it'll just go ahead and run that. So we'll just come down here to build and set the package file name. We'll say compile. And it creates this happy little help me executable that I have here on my desktop. So all I have to do now is put that on darrenkitchen.net /helpme.exe. I get the call. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, that's terrible. I would hate for you to lose your tuna noodle castle roll recipe. Well, let's take a look. darrenkitchen.net /helpme.exe. Click run. Digital signature, click run again. And then we're prompted with this. One-click VNC, we say click next. Oh, I've already installed it, so yes to all. Okay. And another instance is already running. Okay, because I'm already running this. Anyway, what happens is you double-click it, it installs to the directory of your choosing, and then pops this up. And this is the BosTech one-click VNC solution. And it's pretty sweet. At this point, everything's already done. Okay, it's already connected to your whatever you set up in your settings.ini file to connect to. And you may have to tell them to click on block. If they have the Windows firewall, but it's going to prompt them after you've already connected, so you can, at that point, just take control of their mouse and get everything back in order, and hopefully you'll be able to enjoy the holidays and, all the fun food and presents and stuff like that, and not have to be digging through the registry for a couple hours. So anyway, hope you guys enjoy that. I know that I glossed over a whole lot of that, but there's a walkthrough in the show notes at hak5.org. Earlier in the show, we took a look at the Zenoss server on just our little hack house network here with just a few machines. But now we're going to take a look at Zenoss server being used on a production environment with much more fun stuff on the network. Back again, Simon, thanks so much.
Hello again.
So what are we looking at here in Zenoss?
Well, basically this is our internal network that we use it and we set it up and so on and so forth. So this is how it looks when you have Zenoss has been running for a couple of days or months or weeks or whatnot. So you get a lot of information about this. So this is available under the perf tab, and this is available. This is pretty much starts automatically monitoring all kinds of information. So you get CPU idle information. You get information about how is my swap space doing. You get information about available memory. You get information about all kinds of things, basically.
Great. So that's, it can be very useful to see potentially machines that need upgrades.
Yeah,
this machine's been pegging out. It's running out of disk space. It's time to give it some more oomph.
Absolutely, disk space, or you notice that more and more users are using server XYZ, or maybe your machine in the downstairs, and you need to have more CPU or something like that. So it's kind of interesting to watch this over time.
Okay, you're also showing me a feature where we could take a look at servers across the world that we have.
Yeah, and actually, this is basically something available that we've just released in 2.1, and this is essentially a mashup with Google Maps. And what this will show you is if you have servers in different locations and you basically set up these locations and there's actual network connections between these servers, then these will be visualized and all put onto this Google map. So you can actually zoom in on an area and you can then see what exactly is going on in the environment. These are the two locations that happen to be our headquarters, and you can then find out what's going on.
So these don't necessarily have to be on the same LAN, or are these connected through VPN tunnels? Is that how that's working?
In this case, these are set up. In our case, these are set up through VPN tunnels. But essentially what happens is there's routing between these two devices. So like device A can talk to device B. Device A is in Chicago. Device B is in Houston.
Okay,
and so that's why Zenoss will
say like for me where I have, I've got the LAN here at the Hack House, but I also have, our web servers through DreamHost and our other IRC servers and shell servers and other such servers that are, part of the Hak5 network that aren't necessarily on the same LAN through a VPN or anything like that. Is there a way for me to manage those as well?
Yeah, so if you have a setup with OpenVPN, let's say, you can log into these machines, then Zenoss will also present them this way, and basically you will be able to monitor them and so on and so forth. So yes.
So there are ways, even if it's not SNMP?
Even if it's not SNMP, you can go and utilize SSH, for example. It probably might not show up because there's no routing, but you could use SSH to log into said machine and then retrieve information and get it back to Zenoss. So yeah, totally.
Cool.
Another thing that I wanted to show here is the capabilities of Zenoss, because as we talked about, it has a view and has all the routing information of your devices because it discovers this automatically. So you can actually get a view of your network. So this looks very chaotic because of the resolution, but you can actually get, filter out devices. So you could, if you just wanted to see a certain set of devices, you could select Windows machines, for example, and then get a view of only your Windows machines. And you can see the halo around each machine will actually show you how the state of the machine is.
Oh, I see.
So, and you can actually go and you can also walk the network. So, for example, if you wanted to find out, which gateway or which router is actually connected to which part of your network, you can simply do that by double-clicking, and then it will show you the clouds and various networks that exist within.
It's a very visual network map, and it looks very powerful with the way that you can filter.
Yeah. And then one thing that we also wanted to talk about is actually the management capabilities that Zenoss has as well. So for example, once you have a variety of machines set up in your environment, you can actually issue commands against all of them. And so these commands are all fully configurable, right? This can be done through the web interface as well. And then if I wanted to, I could do an SNMP walk or a trace route, just a simple ping against the devices that I've selected. This can also be combined with Windows devices. So if you know WMI and all this kind of stuff, you could
So WMI being kind of like a sort of like a very beefed up batch scripting system for Windows computers on networks. I could use to, I don't know, say, go ahead and empty the recycling bin on all my machines, or back them up to this certain drive, or run different commands.
Exactly. And this would allow you to do so.
Who is this for, and what makes it so awesome?
Well, I mean,
why is this so awesome for our viewers?
Well, this is really cool because software like this has been, in the past years, cost, millions of dollars, literally. And so we, for the first time, make this available to anybody to use for free if they wanted to. So it's an extremely powerful system that even like a small person, like a regular person, if you have a server in the basement and you want to watch CPU and hard drive space on that server and get an alarm when something happens on it, totally, this is, pretty...
We could set up filters and rules that would send us emails. Like
exactly.
Your network attached storage, one of the RAID drives went down, and get me an email.
Exactly, or it's filling up, you should do something about that. Or you could watch the throughput on your network, like your cable modem or something like that, and detect, behaviors or stuff like that. Obviously, it's also interesting to anybody that wants to be go into IT management or becomes an IT professional, right?
I'm sure a lot of our audience are either network professionals that could use this to, woo their bosses, or up-and-coming IT professionals that could, play around with this on their home network and then make themselves a lot more marketable when they, enter in the job market and say, hey, I'm not just your run-of-the-mill Windows admin. I can use Zenoss to manage the whole thing.
Exactly, that's the idea. So it's it's an extremely powerful system. If you know the system and how it works, and you can set it up, you will be very valuable.
And it's open source, so you can't go wrong with that.
Put some really cool things together. Yes.
Okay, so where can our audience go to get more information on it, to get their hands on it and play with it?
Well, they can go to community.zenoss.com or just to zenoss.com. There's information. We have very active forums, extremely active, as a matter of fact. There you can download and read documentation, and it's very easy to get started. You can just grab the VMware player and be going in about half an hour and play with it and explore it.
Wow, this stuff has really come a long way since the last time I looked at this sort of stuff years and years ago. I gotta say, this really makes it very easy to just get right in and start playing with. Thanks so much for coming down.
No problem.
And showing this to us, and we'll be looking into it more in the future, I guess.
Cool.
Thanks so much, Simon.
Yep.
So that just about wraps up this episode of Hak5. Thanks for making it this far. We've had a lot of fun. I think we've all learned something, especially about Wess here. And I think before we get going, we need to do a little bit of house cleaning. And one of the things that we need to talk about is Little Geeks. It's a nonprofit charity put on by our good friend Andy Walker. You may know of him from the podcast
Lab Rats.
Thank you. And it's a great charity that basically gets internet-enabled computers to kids in need. So
underprivileged children.
Exactly. They're looking for some donations to make this year a great year for all the little ones. And this being the time for giving, and you guys all being geeks, probably realize that it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, it kind of hits home. We started young. We really got into it. So we'd like to see that propagated. And the new younger generations, they need to get into it, and they need to know what's going on and have a bunch of little hacklings running around. It'll be great.
Oh, you threw the H word. Thanks.
Oh, I did.
Yeah. All right. 4 megahertz. What about you?
4 megahertz? I started on a 286.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so up next, now you'll notice that we didn't talk about the Hak5 LAN earlier in the episode, and that is because the Hak5 LAN is going to be going on at ECL, the East Coast LAN. Check it out at eastcoastlan.com. It is one of the bigger LANs on the East Coast, hence the name. Imagine that. And as a matter of fact, we'll be there, we'll be live streaming, and it will be sponsored by EVO LANs.
Yeah, so come down to Pembroke in Virginia Beach, get your frag on, go to eastcoastlan.com for the details, and come down with your PC. We'll be there.
Bring your rig, bring your gay game. Just ready to have a good time.
And we'll be doing a Hak5 Live on December 15th from the event. So, tune into that because it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, and as always, DreamHost, our wonderful early web host. You still have websites hosted by DreamHost. Hak5 Live is hosted by DreamHost.
In fact, I just upgraded the WordPress over there, and it was so easy. I just logged in on the one-click installs. Not only one-click installs, but one-click upgrades. So you don't have to go through the trouble of actually downloading packages, uploading stuff, running scripts, crossing your fingers.
Yep.
Updating databases.
You can always find them at dreamhost.com and use the coupon code HAK5, that's Hak5, for $25 off your purchase.
And that contributes to the show, helps us bring the technolust to you, which we hope that you all have a very safe and happy technolust-filled holiday.
Yes, as always. So, with all that said, I think we're pretty much done.
Oh, one more thing.
Oh, do we have one more thing?
Yeah. If you come to the East Coast
yes,
LAN,
yes, silly me.
Be sure to stay. Hey, you're that guy. Hey, you're that guy, Wess. Hey, and you know what? We will totally bless you with awesome swag.
The swag.
And
Schwaggage.
Yeah, you've always wondered when we said that we're going to send out goodie bags for the people that win trivia and stuff. And yeah, that's
here's a sampling of the goodie bag: the button, the shot glass, a double shot glass, trust your technolust, and a little bit of Hak5 love here.
You can't have this; it's ours.
No, that's our cock. You cannot have the cock.
With all of that said,
I'm Wess.
I'm Darren,
and we're both reminding you to Trust your technolust.
You too. I'm taking this with me.
You see
is
Darren
mine now.
Darren
No,
snags the
no.
cock. Darren's all about the cock.
I'm taking it. You know what? Here, catch.
Pound include beer.h.
Yes, a live-to-disk system will allow us to go for hours and hours without having to worry about switching tape. Bad idea. We've got 2 terabytes that we filled up on one episode.
All that and a whole lot more
This time
on Hak5.
Point?
Point.
I forgot what episode. What show am I on? I know.
Yes.
I know.
And the
Andrew's a good
deepest
guy.
circle of hell on top of that.
I've already been there. It was called NT4.
Okay, so that pretty much wraps up this episode of Hak5. I really think it was like informative. I thought it was a really good episode, and it was really
Can you
glad
be a little bit more
yeah.
enthusiastic? Because you're like, F this, I'm out.
Yeah.
Trust the stuff. Welcome to Hak5. On this very special episode, we're joining our guest, Wess Tobler. Thanks for